Personal finance practice problem using Excel. Purchase on credit versus cash decision. Prepare to get financially fit by practicing personal finance. Here we are in our Excel worksheet. If you have access to the Excel worksheet and would like to follow along, note that we're down here in the practice tab as opposed to the example tab. The example tab, in essence, being an answer key. Information's on the left-hand side. We're going to populate that into the blue area on the right-hand side. Information says we're thinking about purchasing something. You might think of it as some kind of an appliance, a washer, a dryer, or something like that. Price, we're saying, is the $3,100. And then we're thinking about whether or not we should finance and what would be the costs of financing it. So if we were to finance it, we're thinking we would need a down payment of 20%, which is $620. And then monthly payments, we're told, would be $140 for 24 months, or in other words, 2 years, 24 periods. So we could do a quick calculation without taking into consideration, of course, time value of money, because it is a fairly short time frame of the 2 years. And then we can look at the same thing, looking at time value of money concepts with it as well. So, for example, if we had the down payment starting at the $620 for the down payment, then we have the monthly payments, monthly payments. I'm going to put a colon so we can do our calculation into the inner column now, which is going to be monthly payment of, we're going to pay each month $140. So I'm going to say equals that $140 for the number of months, which would be equal to 24 months, 2 years times 12, or 24 months, 24 payments. That would, of course, give us the monthly payments. Let's say total monthly payments, not taking into consideration time value of money, just over the 2 year or 24 month period. 140 times the 24 equals the 140 times the 24. Let's do some formatting here. I'm going to indent these items. Selecting these 3 cells, we're going to go to the alignment tab, alignment group, and indent. And then let's indent this one again, alignment and indent. Let's put an underline under the 24, underline. So that's going to give us our total cost. Let's call it the total cost, which will be equal to the down payment. Let's use a trusty sum function, equals the SUM, shift 9, up arrow. I'm holding down shift, and then I'm scrolling up, and then there it is, and enter. Adding those together, we're going to underline here, font group and underline, and so we have the total cost if financed, not taking into consideration time value of money, of the $3,980, which we could then, of course, compare to the price, which is simply going to be the $3,100 if we paid the cash up front, underlining that by going to the font group, underline. That then is going to give us the cost of the credit. In essence, we're talking the interest and if any fees that were involved in there, of the difference of the $880. Let's calculate that a different way than taking into consideration the time value of money. So we could say, all right, well, let's figure out the amount that we're going to finance. We're going to say the cash price is going to be that $3,100 on the cash price. And the down payment we said was going to be equal to the $620. So that's how much we're going to pay up front. So the amount financed then will be equal to the $3,100 minus the $620. So we're going to take out, in essence, a loan for that $2,480. I'm going to underline the $2,480. So then we can think, okay, well, if they're telling us that we're going to have to pay $140 per month in order to finance the difference, because we're paying the down payment between the price and the down payment of the $2,480, then we could figure out then what the interest rate they are basically charging us would be. We could say, well, what's the interest rate on that basically that you're charging? So we can say, let's take the rate. I'm going to pick up the monthly rate and say this will be equal to the RATE formula, the rate formula. Number of periods is going to be 24 periods, so 24 periods, comma, and then the payment that they're saying we have to make is 140 payments, comma, The present value is the amount we financed, not the cost, but the cost minus the down payment, that being the $2,480. And so if I say enter there, and I didn't put a negative, I always forget the negative. I got to put a negative. Remember, you got to put a negative before the payment, and I forget it completely, purposely and mindfully, so that I can show you that directly here. Not really, but it works the same way. Anyway, so we got a negative before the payment. And then let's percentify that number group, percentification, adding some decimals. That's going to be the monthly amount. We want then the rate per year, because that's the rate that we usually think about when thinking of these rates. So I'm going to take that 2.59, even though we're paying monthly, I'm going to multiply it times 12, because the yearly rate is what we're more used to being able to understand and compare. Number group, percentifying that, we're at 31%. 31.04 on the percent. Now we can kind of verify that by doing our amortization table over here, the good old amortization table. We'll get to the interest, which should be the same interest of the 880, just to give us our verification in that format. So I'm going to say 0, 1, 2, select those three cells, grab fill handle, and drag the fill handle down till 24 payments. Going to center it, alignment and center. Let's total it up down here. Total. And then we're going to say that the loan balance is equal to that $2,480 at the loan balance. The payments that we're going to be making are equal to, they're saying we got to make 140. Let's pick it up there. I'm going to put an absolute reference because I'm going to copy it down. So I'm going to say F4 on the keyboard, $ before the E and 4. You only need a mixed reference, $1, but an absolute works and is easier. So then we're going to say this equals the 2480 times the rate. I'm going to pick up the yearly rate, even though I'm going to break it down to the monthly rate by then dividing it by 12. I'm going to say F4, $ before the I and 7 divided by 12 to break it back down to that monthly rate, because we're used to working with the yearly rate. And then we're going to subtract this out. This is going to be the 140 minus the 64. And then the loan balance would be going down by the 2,480 minus the 64. Now we of course have done a few of these kind of practice problems in the past. So I'm doing this a little bit more quickly. If you want to look at time value of money calculations, take a look at a prior section where we focused on that in detail. Now we're taking those skills that we learned and we're just applying them out where applicable with different decision-making things in the future and future decisions. And that happens anytime you're looking at decisions that are going to impact more than the immediate time frame. And so we're going to then say, all right, let's do it one more time, and then we'll copy it down. So the payment is going to be equal to the 140. I'm going to say F4 on the keyboard, $ but before the E and 4. Interest is going to be then equal to the 2,404. I'm going to multiply that then times the yearly rate. F4 that, meaning absolute reference it, meaning $ before the I and 7, then divided by 12, because I used the yearly rate and I want to bring it back down to the monthly rate. Then we'll subtract this out. This is going to be equal to the payment of the 140 minus the 62 interest calculation or charge. The difference then, or the decrease of the loan balance, equal to the up 2,404 minus the left 178. There we have it. Let's copy it down now. We're going to select these 4 cells, grab Phil's handle, the fill handle, grab it tight so you don't, make sure you got a good grip on it with your index finger, and then pull it down here. You can't double click on it, but I'm just going to pull it down here. And there we have it. And the bottom line should be at 0. That should give us some verification. Let's go ahead and total up. Total with the trusty sum function equals the SUM up arrow, holding down shift. And then we're going up to the summit of the sum function. We're there at the summit. And then there it is. There's the 3360. Let's do an autofill on that across, grabbing Phil's handle, dragging it not all the way across, but right there. And so there we have, then here's our interest calculation. Once again, there's the 880 that we calculated here. So we could see it in that format, the interest that we're paying, the total payments that we're paying, 3,360, which equals the total payments that we put in place for the monthly payments that we made, 3,360 plus these 620. So those are a couple ways you can look at it. Obviously, the first thing you'd probably do with a calculation like this would be just to figure out, without time value of money, how much is the loan costing you? How much are we paying in interest? And then say, well, is that worth it? Let's think about the time value of money, and then possibly bring in the interest rate as well, which could give us some comparisons if we're thinking about other kind of financing options.